If you're looking for the definition of a filmmaker who just operates on an impossible scale, who takes these huge cultural ideas and just blows them up into a blockbuster, Christopher Nolan is your guy.
He really is.
And after the massive, massive success of Oppenheimer, the question was pretty simple. What story is even big enough to follow that?
And, well, the answer is kind of the story that started it all, isn't it? Homer's The Odyssey.
Exactly.
I mean, we are talking about an adaptation of an 8th century BCE epic poem. It's this sprawling narrative with gods, monsters, a 10-year journey for one guy just trying to get home.
And this isn't your standard mythology movie fare. Nolan apparently sees the original text as foundational because it already has all the genres we love today. It's got horror, mystery, romance, even political thriller elements.
It really does. It has everything. So for this deep dive, we're going to unpack the story behind the movie. We're going to look at the colossal scale of the production, analyze some pretty shocking casting choices, and then wade through the controversies that have already made this one of the most anticipated films of 2026.
Let's just jump right into the physics of this project, because this is where Nolan always sets the bar. The budget is astronomical. It's sitting at around $250 million.
Yeah, which ties The Dark Knight Rises. It's his most expensive film ever.
So how does that money actually, translate to the screen for us?
Well, it translates into a pretty revolutionary technical commitment. I mean, we all know Nolan loves his large format cameras, right? But the Odyssey is his first feature to be shot entirely on IMAX film cameras.
The whole thing.
The entire thing. They even had to develop a new, quieter version of the camera just so they could actually capture dialogue on set.
And you get a sense of that scale when you hear they used over 2 million feet of IMAX film. I mean, that's a commitment to visual spectacle that we've just rarely ever seen in an ancient epic.
It's the definition of scope. And that scale demanded a global production.
Right.
They were shooting for 91 days over 6 months in 2025. The cast and crew basically became their own traveling army, sort of like Odysseus himself.
The list of locations is just... It's incredible. They started in Morocco, right, for the Trojan War scenes.
Yep. And then it was across the Mediterranean to Greece, to the Peloponnese region.
Yeah.
They even filmed at ancient Corinth.
And then Italy, of course, Sicily, the Aeolian Islands, the mythical home of the Keeper of the Winds.
And it goes beyond just the traditional Greek locations. They also went to these moody, more remote landscapes.
Yeah.
Scotland, Iceland, which they apparently used for the underworld, for Hades.
Wow.
Yeah. And Malta, and even parts of the Western Sahara. They even, get this, they sourced one of the largest modern Viking longships for the sailing sequences. So they're sparing absolutely no expense to ground this thing in the real world.
And that grounding, that brings us right to Nolan's whole philosophy here. His big goal is to take the mythical stuff, the gods, the monsters, and show them through what he calls tactile realism.
Precisely. He's trying to show divine intervention, not with, flashy CGI, but through natural phenomena, tidal waves, huge storms, earthquakes.
And the kind of stuff ancient people would have actually seen as an act of the gods.
Exactly. It's this interesting mix of, old Hollywood spectacle, maybe a little nod to Ray Harryhausen, but done with cutting-edge realism.
And, this film feels almost like destiny for him. It's like he's fulfilling a decades-long ambition.
It absolutely is. I think a lot of people forget he was originally supposed to direct the movie Troy back in 2004.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And when Wolfgang Peterson took that project back, it freed Nolan up to go do a little film called Batman Begins. So the Odyssey is really Nolan finally getting his chance to define the historical epic he almost started 20 years ago.
And a project that big needs actors who can carry that weight. So let's talk about this cast they've assembled.
Okay, so the central family is anchored by Matt Damon as Odysseus, the wily hero, the brilliant strategist trying to get home.
And you've got Anne Hathaway, another Nolan regular, playing his wife, Penelope, who's back home fending off all these suitors who have basically invaded her house.
Right. And then completing that trio is Tom Holland as their son, Telemachus, who has to grow up fast and go on his own journey to find his dad.
And the star power just keeps going. Zendaya is playing the goddess Athena,
the protector of Odysseus, his guide. And Charlize Theron is strongly rumored to be the witch goddess Circe. John Bernthal and Benny Safdie are playing the kings Menelaus and Agamemnon. I mean,
it's a franchise-level cast.
It really is. And you even have John Leguizamo as Eumaeus, the faithful servant who never gives up on Odysseus. But the performance we really need to focus on, the one that tells us the most about this film's tone, is Robert Pattinson's.
Right. Pattinson's back after Tenet, but this time he is a full-on villain. He's playing Antinous,
which is just a phenomenal choice. For him and for the story, Antinous is the leader of Penelope's suitors, and he's by far the most arrogant. He's not just greedy, he embodies pure hubris, reckless entitlement.
And that role goes really deep into the cultural core of the story, doesn't it?
It does. Because Antinous is the ultimate breaker of moral law. He completely disrespects the sacred laws of hospitality, what the Greeks call xenia. He's actively plotting to murder Telemachus. He's draining all of Odysseus' wealth.
He's the symbol of the chaos Odysseus has to come home and fix.
He is. And that's why he is the very first suitor Odysseus kills when he returns. It's a huge moment.
And putting Pattinson in that role, after his whole Pattinson-isance where he did all those risky indie films, it says something important.
It really confirms his career path, I think. He's choosing visionary directors and artistically challenging projects, whether he's the hero or, in this case, a truly despicable antagonist. He wants complexity, and Antinous is definitely that.
Okay, so let's shift from the cast to the insane anticipation and the turbulence that has surrounded this whole production. The marketing campaign was just a masterclass.
A total masterclass in controlled hype. It was a classic Nolan-phased release, all built around the IMAX experience. They dropped that cryptic 70-second teaser a full year early, July 2025.
Right, just to set the mood. But then came the big one.
It's the 6-minute prologue, the Trojan horse sequence, shown exclusively in IMAX theaters that December.
And it worked.
It worked brilliantly. People were comparing the tension inside that wooden horse to Dunkirk with this nerve-wracking score. And when the full trailer finally dropped, it got, 121.4 million views in 24 hours?
The demand was just immediate. I heard that when the IMAX 70mm tickets went on sale a year early, they were gone in 12 hours.
Yeah, and some were being resold for over $1,000. It just cemented its status as the film to see in 2026.
But with that level of hype, you always get the debates, right? The first look at Matt Damon as Odysseus. It sparked an immediate controversy about his helmet.
The Corinthian helmet with the big red plume, yeah. Historians and critics jumped on it immediately, saying the design was just wrong for the time period of the poem.
It's that constant battle between Hollywood drama and academic accuracy.
It is, and it seems like Nolan's defense is that he's intentionally going for a classic Hollywood look. He's paying tribute to films like The 300 Spartans. He's choosing a visual that audiences immediately recognize as ancient epic, even if it's not perfectly accurate. And that's a choice that always splits people.
But there was a much more serious discussion around one of the shooting locations.
Yes. This one is ethically very complex. The production spent 4 days filming near Dakhla, which is a city in the disputed territory of Western Sahara.
A territory that's been under Moroccan occupation since the 70s.
Correct. And that decision drew immediate and sharp condemnation from human rights groups, particularly the Polisario Front, which represents the Sahrawi people.
And their argument was
that by filming there, the production was unintentionally whitewashing Morocco's colonialism and violating international law about operating in disputed territories without the consent of the people's legal representatives.
And there were calls to have the footage removed completely?
There were. Now, it is important to note the other side. The Moroccan Cinematographic Center argued that the production was a good thing, that it was promoting the region's film industry. But the controversy definitely highlights the ethical minefield that these massive global productions have to navigate.
It really forces you, as an audience member, to remember that even these huge artistic projects exist in the real world with real political consequences.
Absolutely.
So to wrap this all up, we have an epic that is global in scope, technically revolutionary, the first ever shot entirely on IMAX film, and it's stacked with this incredible cast led by Damon and a newly menacing Pattinson.
Yay.
It's Nolan finally getting to tackle this foundational myth.
And it promises not just action, but a really gritty, grounded look at these ancient themes that still define us. What is home, what is loyalty, and what are the moral tests that make us who we are.
So what does this all mean for the history books? What's the final thought here?
Well, the ancient Odyssey is a story about a long journey home, right? It's defined by these tests of character and ultimately the restoration of order. But given the immense financial weight of this production, the extreme marketing hype, the debates over historical accuracy, and the very real geopolitical controversy attached to it, we have to ask, will Nolan's cinematic Odyssey be remembered more for its incredible technical spectacle, or for the difficult ethical questions its production accidentally raised along the way?
Something to think about as we wait for July 17th, 2026.